Hi everybody, Rio here. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday, so today is the next in my series of film reviews. Today we are going to be reviewing an independent film called A Fragile Nest. This is from filmmaker Matthew Pillisher. I kind of hope I'm saying his name right. So I've said before that I do a lot of research and I try to talk about all the different things and the people behind the cameras and the aspects of these films. And I also said that sometimes a film is so indie that kind of hard for me to research anything. There's no IMDb list, anything like that. This is one of those films. But that's okay, because these are the kind of films I really like, you guys. A Fragile Nest is the story of a character called Tess, who is played by Rachel Fecco. Again, I apologize if I'm massacring that name. Who, in fact, is the partner of Matthew Pillisher. So, that's, again, family. I like it. Anyway, so the film follows Tess as she is returning to the town she grew up in, but she kind of doesn't want to be there. That becomes clear as to the reasons for that later on in the film. But she's back in the town she grew up in and is there to handle the estate of her late estranged father. You also find out why that is, why they are estranged. That all unspools through the course of the film. In fact, we find out she actually spent her formative years at a place called Norristown State Hospital. And kids, just in case you're wondering, you can look us up on Wikipedia. Norristown State Hospital is real. It is an actual real place, and was a terrible place, for a lot of people. If you've ever heard the stories about Pennhurst Asylum, which is also in Pennsylvania, was shut down only in the 1980s, and the things that happened there. Geraldo Rivera did a whole expose on it back in the day, which is why it got shut down. Yeah. Okay, Norristown Hospital, same concept.
This place used to be a hospital for crazy people.
I don't think people like being called crazy.
He actually go to the abandoned hospital. I don't know, you don't know what Tessa's really looking for when she goes in there, but she actually goes in, into this abandoned, state hospital and goes and looks around. And, FYI, they did not actually film inside of Norristown State Hospital. According to the credits, it was actually an urban exploration group. If you're not familiar with urban exploration, you can look that up on other channels on YouTube. I think it's pretty cool. Where they go in like abandoned shopping malls and dilapidated buildings. And they just kind of go and document them, which is cool. So it was some urban exploration group that had actually gone and gotten the footage inside, and they just kind of voiced over, showing you the footage inside. Which is probably for the best, because it's not super safe to go into these, dilapidated buildings, these abandoned places. It's not actually safe, and I am not encouraging you to do so. But it's kind of cool.
Your daughter thinks you're the devil, and he was a saint?
She actually does have one of the people who's in the town who knew her when she was a kid, before everything went wrong for her. We have her best gay friend, Willie, who, by the way, is played by Matthew Pillisher. Right? So, again, I've said this about independent films before. You'll see like 8 things in one name. This is one of those. Here's the things that I kind of found fascinating about this film. Number one, is that the way that Rachel plays Tess, it's believable. It's really solid. You have this character who is obviously, she's come back to this town. There were years of addictions. I'm going to assume probably prescription drugs or something. They don't necessarily say what. But she's sober from years of addiction. There's some other issues where she has a daughter that she left behind at some point, and the daughter is involved in the story marginally.
You know what? It's not a mystery. There's no happy ending.
She has a lot of unfinished business, this woman does. And she is haunted, like metaphorically very haunted. I think most of us have probably at least once in our lives met that person who, they go through sobriety and get them, or just recover in general, any kind of a rehabilitation like that, be it, say, going to actual psychiatric care or whatever they may need, and coming back and then just kind of not knowing how to relate to anyone anymore, because when you start to, what's one of the 12 steps? Was to make amends, right? You have to try to make right as best you can the things that you did wrong. And it seems like Tess wants to. Like, she's coming in there and really wanting to make things right, like to try to fix the harm she's done, but she also doesn't really understand the harm she's done. Like, there's so much that she doesn't know. And that's one of the cruxes of the film. A lot of her childhood is sort of a blank. And I can see how it would be, going through this traumatic experience.
Meant to come home and find this, so Shelley didn't have to.
Your daughter...
I've seen that look in the real world, and I know what that look is. You know, that just sort of, they're like, nobody's home, but you know there is so much going on in there, and they're just turning off because they can't handle it, and they don't expect you to. She does a really good job with that. So whatever research she did, whatever experiences she may or may not have had that kind of brought her to that performance, very well done. Everybody needs that friend, right? Everyone needs that friend. That friend that no matter what stupid crap you've done, no matter how much you have blown it, right? No matter what dumbass thing you are suddenly now responsible for. Everybody needs that friend that's all like, and? Everyone needs that friend. That friend that will just stand there with you. So Willie is really great because Matthew playing Willie, what he does is he's inviting her to Halloween parties. He's inviting her, hey, come do some pumpkin carving. Hey, let's go to the mall. Like the place they went as a kid. They go to the mall. I love him sitting there talking crap about the mall because I know that mall. I haven't been there in years, but I know that mall. And yeah, it's not a very good mall. I don't know. Again, like I said about Rachel, I don't know what experiences she may or may not have had, what research she may have done to kind of be able to do that sleepwalk through the world that Tess is doing. But he's the same way, to be that friend, and he actually has that too.
I think
there's so many callbacks. Like, you see her remembering, because like most of her childhood is a blank. She can't remember. Things are confused. And I guess growing up in an institution, that will do that, right? And you see her kind of remembering things in snippets. Like just little bits, and it's filmed as a fuzzy memory. So you know that it's just something she's kind of fished around and found an old floppy disk somewhere that here was a memory of something. She might not have a context for it, but it's like a sense memory for her. It's really interesting that a way a lot of that's done. We talk about the cinematography. That's also our boy Matthew. Let's talk about that a little bit too. Some interesting choices in the way it's filmed. It feels like what I would call guerrilla, where it almost looks like it's like being filmed on Super 8. Like it's not quite zombie cam, right? But I don't know, things are kind of moving around and frenetic, and in a way that sort of gives you what you don't see in Tessa's reaction. Special effects. Talk special effects. Well, there really aren't any. Other than a lot of the cinematography effects, the use of the camera, and the fuzzy lenses and stuff. The sort of fisheye look for the distant memories that she's trying to retrieve her past. That's about the extent of your special effects, really. Because it's not that kind of movie. It's not that kind of movie. We'll talk a little bit about the score. I had found the name of the score composer. Brendan Doherty was our score composer. Brendan Doherty. Again, I tried to look up some more stuff on him, and I couldn't find listings other than like his private pages, IG, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a kind of an electronic score. I'm not usually a fan of that, I mean, like kind of the goblin kind of stuff, like for like, Dawn of the Dead, cool. It kind of suits that. I'm not normally a fan of that for the most part, but actually it kind of works because it's not overused. The score is not obtrusive. It's mainly used in transitions. So like we go from a scene with the characters talking, and there's really not a score there. You'll have like ambient sound from around the room, like when they're at the party. So you hear all the noise at the party. You'll hear the music playing in the background of the party, and it's really low, so that you can absolutely hear what's being said and what's going on. Same with like, you just have two characters talking. The score is really minimal, if even there. And that's the good job of a score. The job of a film score should be to be unobtrusive. And it is, for the most part. I can't really give you too much on this thing because I don't want to ruin the entirety of the story. One thing I will say that I think is really, really clever is it does not open with exposition. This thing doesn't waste any time getting started. It just, and there's the beginning of the movie. And you're like, oh, okay. Right? And I like that. Always important, especially when you have a short run time. This thing's about an hour. So you don't want to screw around with anything you don't need. But the film, as the story progresses, you find yourself with questions. At least I did. Right? Or you get a few minutes in and it's like, well, wait, so who's that? Or what's that? And almost as soon as I ask it, then it tells me. I'm like, oh, okay. And then it goes on a few more minutes, and then I'm just kind of like, well, wait, well, then what did that have to do with? And then it tells you. Like, you get these little pieces of information. The story slowly puts itself together. Like, no sooner do you go, well, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. And it explains it. I like the fact that we follow almost as if we are Tess. We don't know either. And so as everything moves forward, we slowly learn more, and we're like, let's get our questions answered. You gotta be patient and watch the movie and have your questions answered. Don't get too distracted. Just watch it. This is a solid character study. And I gotta say, I am a fan of a character study. I love a film that basically follows one or two characters, and everything that happens is all in relation to that individual character. We are really delving into different depths of like one person, right? This movie is all about Tess, and it's all about her journey, and everything that's going on, has gone on, will go on. Everything is about her journey. And I don't see many films that do that. And this absolutely is a character study. And I particularly love that it's not being pretentious. It's not wasting our time. It's not giving us the over explanation. It's literally taking us on a journey from beginning, middle to end with Tess. As she learns, so do we. And I like that. You want to know where to see it? Okay, so it's actually only available right now for streaming, Vimeo Video on Demand. You can go on to Vimeo. I'll have all the links down here in the description. You can go to Vimeo on Demand and you can rent it or buy it to check it out. I'll put a link to the trailer as well, because I think the trailer's probably just available in general. We're doing a ranking system, right? We're doing a ranking system. Okay, so it's a 1 through 5. I'm going to give it 4 birthday candles. 4 birthday candles, because why not? It's really good, guys. I hope you guys can get a chance to check it out. So I'll have all the links down here. And if you enjoy my reviews, if you want to kind of see more of this stuff, there's a little subscribe button that's like over here somewhere. You can hit that, and you'll get notifications when reviews go up on Wednesdays, and any other crap I decide to do in between, because you never know with this channel. I'm all over the map. So, guys, thanks for joining me. So hopefully I'll see you next time. And what do we think? Low rent film reviews? That's our next option. We're still workshopping the name.